I think we're witnessing right now the the end of this players movement because all these teams are going to be involved in this trade. I'm telling you, for the most part, will not be that much better off. And the teams that are actually excelling are the Orlandos, the Houstons, the OKCs, the teams that are developing their players and not just trying to go after old names, which is historically what the Knicks have done. So it's going to be interesting to see how the NBA changes because I think all of these teams that are going to be involved in this trade, minus the ones that are just getting draft picks out of this, are going to be much worse in the next 2 to 3 years than they are today.
Yeah, I have a buddy that loves to go big game hunting. My same buddy Demel, 347. He always wants to go big name hunting. Like he wants all the stars. And if you look at Phoenix, that is the precautionary tale for big name hunting, right?
And is
Same
he is
thing.
he a Knicks fan?
Yeah, he's a Knicks fan. He wants every big
So
player.
do
He
me a
wanted
favor.
he wanted to pair Dame with Brunson. He didn't care. He wanted Donovan Mitchell next to Brunson. He didn't care what their heights are. He just knows that they can score. So yeah, if you look at Phoenix, if you look at what happened with Brooklyn with Durant, Kyrie,
AG,
and
Paul
Harden,
Pierce.
like it's now even now more so in this era of the two aprons, just going big name hunting and amassing these big contracts. It's it's a it's tough. Like you're gonna be stuck with those contracts, so it better work. And right now, Phoenix is that first team that's stuck with those contracts and is looking like it's not gonna work for them, and they're just gonna be a mess for the future for years to come.
It's not like, I mean, this is the good and the bad about the NBA for fans like us, right? Like, as Yankee fans, you could just throw money at problems. And the NBA, you can't do
Yeah,
that.
you can't
You know what
do
I
that.
mean? Like, I wish we could. I wish we could just buy a championship. I would take it. I don't need us to be smart.
Oh
Let's just
yeah,
go get one.
I
But
would love to buy a championship. You kidding me?
I would love to buy a championship, but you can't. And now with the second apron, it's that much more complicated. And how you manage your roster, how you develop players
Yeah,
is a key component. And that's why the NBA is different than it was, right? Like the days of the big three are behind us because, like you mentioned, with teams like Toronto or even Atlanta, I think is the ideal team. I didn't know most of those players, even like Jalen Johnson. I did not know much about him. And he's a stud.
well,
Like you got to find your
and
studs elsewhere.
and that brings back to the criticism of Tibbs. Is like we got these rookies that seemingly have talent. They're not seeing the floor. So how much are they really developing? We don't even know. Like, because anyone goes in. I mean, Toppin is in the G League scoring 35 points a game. Like, so what people do in the G League doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's not an indicator of how well you're going to play in the NBA. So I don't know how he's developing these guys because he's certainly not developing them with experience and in-game action. So, but that's key in this new NBA is like the people that you draft, you have to draft well. You have to be able to develop these players because making a lot of acquisitions and a lot of trades is going to be difficult, especially for the Knicks now that we have these new contracts, uh, on our books. So that's another thing, another criticism on Tibbs, and it's actually really important. So we got to see how we develop these guys. We got to get them there. That's another thing Leon really needs to like focus on and make sure we're doing a good job of.